Welcome to Pranayama Yoga. Let's take a breath. Pranayama is control of the breath. We're going to do some specific breathing techniques this month, incorporated into our classes. So if you've been doing yoga with me, you know that there's a lot of focus on the breath, on using it to let go. But now we're going to really do a little more specific patterning to the breath. So you can use this in your yoga practices, in your meditation practice. You can use it in your daily life in stressful situations. So first, let's just begin by taking note of how you are. How's your stress today? And then take another deep breath. All right, we're going to practice this. And then we're going to try to incorporate this technique. 4-count breath is what we're doing today. We're going to try to incorporate this into some of the poses. You can do it in as many poses as you like, but I'm going to try to keep myself from prompting you to do it in every single pose. So we don't want to get overwhelmed. If anything is uncomfortable for you, since I have asthma, sometimes any kind of real focus on my breath can be somewhat agitating to me. I think it's probably the best word. So you can always just let the technique go. But you can use this technique in your yoga practice, stressful situations like in your car. You can do it in a meditation practice. So we'll do it again for Shavasana. This one, I think in particular, is probably pretty good to help you fall asleep. If you're having trouble falling asleep, it just gives your mind something simple to focus on away from your stressful daily life. Okay, so 4-count breath. We're going to try to inhale to a count of 4 and then exhale to a count of 4. If your count is different, if it's 3 or if it's 6 or if it's 8, that's fine. We're just trying to match the length and the sort of, the velocity. I don't know what the right word is. All right, we're going to try not to go and then real slow. Some of the techniques are like big breaths and then slow, longer exhales. This one, we're just going to try to keep it equal. So just a slow and steady breath. All right, so exhale out. And then as you inhale, just count. And then once your lungs are full, again, without this exaggeration, just when you're getting to that full lung, what number are you at? So I'm going to say it's 4. And then you're going to exhale out. And you're trying to just exhale at that same speed, counting. So whichever way you want to count. I just do 1, 2, 3, 4 as I inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4 as I exhale. If you can do it backwards, go for it. That's probably a better way to focus, move your mind away from your stress. But for me, that's a little too complicated. All right, so just feel your breath. Count as you inhale and as you exhale, trying to match the length and the speed. And you might exhale out through your mouth. Notice how you feel now. So that was only a few breaths. But like my brain feels completely different now. Okay, so let's just do a couple stretches and then we're going to start to incorporate that breath into a little bit of movement. So I'm going to do butterfly. I'm going to pull out my cushion. Okay, butterfly pose. We're going to sit soles of the feet together. Oh, back is tight. Holy cow. Here we go. We're just going to try to round forward gently. So especially if you have that sensation of things being really tight, go very slowly. You're just trying to round your back here and let your head drop down in the direction of your feet. So you may be, right, my head used to be much higher, my knees used to be much higher. So just go with it. Just try to round, let your head drop down. If your neck is really hurting, bring your head up. Take one more breath. So there we're using, right, those intentional breaths to soften, but we're just really focusing on that sensation of releasing out. A little bit different than focusing on a specific pranayama technique. Okay, come on back up. We're going to either sit with legs crossed or with legs straight out in front of you, and just twist to your right side. Let your right hand drop onto the floor behind you. Lengthen up your spine. Take a big breath. And then we're going to come back through center and just over to the left side. Let left hand reach around behind you on the floor. Nice breath. And then back to center. We're going to come into child's pose. Come out onto hands and knees. And let your hips come back towards your heels. So here's a place where if you really just want to calm down, if child's pose is comfortable for you, or maybe even if it's not comfortable, child's pose can be a nice place to just work on that sense of release, like releasing out stress. So here's where you can do again that 4 count breath. Try to match the length of your inhales to the length of your exhales. Good. Alright, and then we're going to gently come up onto hands and knees. Let's do a little cat and a dog. Round it into cat pose, head and tailbone down, belly in, spine up. Inhale, let your spine drop down towards the floor, down between your shoulder blades. Bring your head and your chest up. Exhale, round into cat. Inhale into dog. And then we're going to curl the toes under and just pass through a down dog. And then walk your feet towards your hands. Take a breath and forward fold. And then inhale all the way up to standing. Reach your arms up overhead. Hands touch overhead. Let the hands come on down to the heart. Nice big breath. Okay, so here's where we're going to do a little more movement with the breath. Did we do movement with the breath? No. We did stillness with the breath. All right, so incorporating movement with the breath. I'm just going to take my feet wider so you can see my hands coming up overhead a little bit better. Okay, so we're going to do a 4 count breath again. We're going to bring the arms up and we're going to bring them down. And we're going to try to do that. Inhaling to 4 as we bring the arms up. Exhaling to 4 as we bring the arms down. All right, so here we go. Inhale. Just counting, trying to get to 4. Trying to get your hands to come up to 4. Hands to be all the way up at 4. There we go. And then we're going to exhale, trying to get the hands all the way down when we reach 4. And then inhale to 4. Exhale to 4. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so my count was a little bit different. So I was really stretching out the 4 in my mind. But I do think that it was pretty equal, the rate of breathing and arms moving up and down. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it felt good. So how did that feel for you? All right, so let's do it one more time. Inhale up. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, see, that's how mine's been going. All right, now we're going to try to do a fold. So inhale, arms up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to exhale and fold. So 1, start to fold from your hips. Let your arms go out to shoulder height. Keep folding down, and hopefully you're going to get to about 4 as you're folded all the way in. And then inhale all the way up, counting to 4. Yeah, I really need an extra breath in there. Okay. We're going to exhale. I got to move a little faster, I think. And then inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, still counting. Exhale. Okay, so left. One more time. Hands together. Let your hands come on down to the heart. Take a breath. So hopefully you can see how that begins to feel. Like you're just really focused on the sensation of the body moving. Right? We're so focusing our minds, or in one way distracting our minds from our normal daily thoughts, right? Because we got a whole lot going on. We're trying to just be in that breath and move and count all at the same time. So it's a good way to just get centered. Okay, shake out the legs, take a breath. Circle shoulders around. Let's do a shoulder stretch, and then we'll do a sun salute. So we're just gonna fold. Hands behind you, interlace fingers together. Pull hands up away from the body. So as you're holding here, I'm not going to do it. You don't need to either. But this is another place. Any place that you're pausing, you're holding. You can do a 4-count breath. All right, we're going to release those hands. We're going to come back up to standing. Good. Shake it out. So just like anything else, the more you practice it, right, the more comfortable it becomes, the more it starts to just find its way into your yoga practice. All right, here we go. Sun salute. Inhale, arms up overhead. Try to feel that length in the body. We're just going to exhale, arms out to shoulder height, fold from your hips. Let your hands come down as far as they reach. Inhale into half lift. You're just lifting the body up enough to lengthen the chest forward, flattening the back. And then we're going to fold in, bend your knees. Hands stay at the top of the mat. Feet walk back. We're going to come into a down dog. You can just go right into child's pose here if you like. If you're coming into plank, still maybe you're just going to do plank and then child's pose. If you're going to come down, you can use your knees. Squeeze arms into the ribs. Lower down with control. Lengthen the legs out behind you. Gently. You can do a cobra, sphinx pose here instead of a cobra if you like, resting on your lower arms. Some days that's just better for, I'm not sure exactly what part of me, but some days that just feels like the natural place to go. If you're doing cobra, hands are flat. You're pushing into the hands. Pull the chest forward. If you're able to move a little bit, if things aren't too tight, you can wiggle around a little bit. Shoulders backwards and forwards. And then bring it back. into a child's pose. So again, 4-count breath could be good here. But if you whipped through that vinyasa and you're a little bit out of breath, just let the breath flow. But if you're relatively calm, you can use that 4-count breath here in child's pose and to get yourself to just relax a little bit more. All right, so let's do that again. We're going to walk the feet back up to the hands. Come on into a standing forward fold. Take a breath. And then inhale all the way up. Bring arms up overhead. Hands touch. Exhale them on down to the heart. Take a nice full breath. All right, I'm too far back. I'm going to step forward here. So you want to be somewhere near the top of your mat so that as we step back into a down dog, you have space to get your feet back still on your mat. All right, stand up tall. Get level on your feet. Inhale, arms up overhead, abdomen in. Lengthen up the spine. Exhale, arms out to shoulder height, fold from your hips. Hands come down. Inhale into half lift. Pull your chest forward. I usually like to take a couple breaths here. Exhale, fold in, bend your knees. Hands stay at the top of the mat, feet walk back. So again, you could do child's pose, or you can come into plank. Then either with your knees down or your legs straight, you want to hug your arms in. Lengthen up the legs behind us. And then where's your back bend? Oh, I think I'm going to stay low here. So if you like to stay low, you can try hands behind you, interlace fingers. And just try to pull your hands back towards your heels. Take a breath. And then we're pushing it back into child's pose. So if your breath is pretty slow here, try to do 4-count. And then we're going to take the right foot and step it forward. We're going to come into a lunge. So you want your right foot to be forward. And then we're going to push. So right now I've got my hip pretty much straight above my knee. And we're just going to try to push those hips forward of that back knee. Your hands can be down, or you can bring your arms up overhead. Shoulder blades down. Reach the fingertips up. And let's see if you can count to 4. So just counting to 4 as you inhale, counting to 4 as you exhale. And then let your hands come down. Curl your back toes under, bring that back knee up. So let that left heel, the back heel, drop down towards the floor. So you're stretching out the lower leg. Lengthen your body over that front leg. Keep breathing out. And then we're going to let that back knee come down. It might be easier to walk your hands over to the left. Swing that right leg back. Shake it out. If you're going to do a vinyasa, so feel free to do child's pose, or you can do this kind of half vinyasa, where you're on hands and knees. Yeah, shoulder's not in a good place there. And you're just bending your elbows, putting some weight on the arms, squeezing your abdomen in. You're going to come all the way down, lower down. If your hips are up, straighten your legs out. Pull your legs out from behind you. And then maybe this time it's going to be a sphinx. Resting on those lower arms. Just look for it. So a lot of times there's just this little bit of wiggling that needs to happen to release out some of those uncomfortable spots. All right, come on back into child's pose. All right, left foot forward, coming into the lunge. So hands can stay down there, or you're going to bring the hands up. So again, we want that right hip to come move forward of the right knee. And then arms. So again, hands can be on the floor, hands can be on your leg, or you can bring your arms up overhead, shoulder blades down. See if you can do a 4 count breath here again. And if you're ready, hands are coming down. We're going to curl the back toes under, bring that knee up. Let that right heel drop down towards the floor. Lengthen your body over the left leg. Try to soften on those exhales. All right, so this time we're going to step that back foot forward. So you can bend in your front knee. My back foot's pretty far back, so I'm going to hop it a few times so I can get the feet relatively lined up. Fold in, take a breath. Let your back lengthen out. Inhale all the way up. Arms reach up overhead. And then hands come down to the heart. Big breath. Turn to face the long edge of your mat. Take your feet out wide so we can do extended side angle. All right. It doesn't take long for me to feel better in yoga, but oops, almost fell over there. But truthfully, I probably really need to do it for about 2 hours at a shot because there's so many different things to work on. But we're just going to take it in these little segments and try to do it a couple times a day if possible. Just a few little stretches. All right, so right foot's going to turn out to the right side. Or again, you're breathing. You can even do that at your computer just to use your breath. Or you can get up and walk around and do 4 count breath as a walking meditation. Or you can just, in an apartment, you can just walk back and forth through your apartment or your house or outside doing 4 count breath. All right, arms come on up to shoulder height. So we've got that right knee bent. Both feet are angling to the right. We're going to lean sideways. Right lower arm on that right thigh. Left arm can reach up and overhead. And try to pull that left hip backward, not letting it turn down towards the floor. Right palm faces up. And so here's another place where you could count. And then we're going to come up. So I think that's a helpful tool in a class when you have no idea how long you're going to be there in the pose and your brain starts to go, oh my God, how long am I going to be here? Just gives you something to focus on to help you just stay cool and calm, cool and collected in the pose. All right, feet to the left, tailbone down, abdomen and spine up, bend in that left knee. Arms coming up to shoulder height. Shoulder blades down. Lean sideways. Rest that left lower arm on the left thigh. Pull the right hip backward. Lengthen out. Left palms up. And then are you going to count here? And then we're going to come up. Both feet are going to face the long side of the mat. We're going to fall forward. Let your head drop down. Nice, big breath. Try to let your chin tuck a little bit towards your chest, especially if your head's, pretty much down, like if the top of your head's pointing towards the floor. See if you can relax that neck a little bit. Let the chin come a little bit closer to your chest. And then we're going to gently come back up. Let's heel toe the feet together. Shake out the legs. Take a breath. Good. All right, I'm going to have a sip of water. And then we're going to do, I think we're going to try a high lunge. Get our legs and hips working. All right, so again, face the short edge of your mat, hands on your hips. Let's step the left foot back, right foot forward. We're going to try to balance on the ball of that back foot. So your heels slightly up off the floor, toes are all pointing forward. Front knee bends, arms come on up. So 4 count breath. And then hands down. Step the back foot forward. Let's take the feet out wide towards the edges of the mat. We're going to try to do a squat. Heels turn in towards each other, toes turn out. And then we're just going to bend the knees. So if your knees hurt, back up. Just do a forward fold or come back up to standing. You might keep your hips up a little bit. Or if the knees are okay, they might come down all the way. See if you can lengthen your back. And then tip it forward. Walk your feet back together. Inhale all the way up to standing. Reach your arms up overhead. Hands touch. And bring them on down to the heart. Okay, we're gonna lunge with the left foot forward. Hands on hips, step that right foot back. Trying to land on the ball of that back foot. Bend in your left knee. Find your spot. Arms come on up. So you have something that you can focus on. Right, if you find one spot you can focus your eyes on, and just count 4 as you inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4 as you exhale. And then hands come down. So this time we're going to step that back, or that front foot backward. Come on into down dog. If you're doing your vinyasa, take your time, come into plank. If you're not doing the vinyasa, you can either sit here in hero pose or be in child's pose. All right, and then we're going to do just a couple seated hip openers and then pigeon. So come on to seated. We did butterfly with soles of the feet together, but butterfly, the feet are pushed out. Now we're going to do a cobbler's pose where the feet pull in. And try to squeeze them into the body. And then if you're able, you're just going to lean the body forward. If that's super duper uncomfortable, or maybe the body doesn't even really lean forward, hands behind you, lengthen up your spine, pull your shoulders back, and then you can work on neck and shoulders by dropping your chin down. If you can sit upright, maybe just letting the weight of your hands and arms just rest on the legs, not really pushing down, but maybe just let the weight of the arms rest there. But if you're able to come forward, fold in. So what's happening with your breath? Are you naturally counting? Like, is it falling into a pattern? Or not? All right, come on up. We're going to straighten out the right leg. Left foot's pulled in. So same thing, we're either just folding forward or you're going to work on staying pretty far upright with one or both hands behind you. If you're folding forward, just again, find your spot. If you can reach the foot with your left hand, you're just going to try to reach across to the outside of that right foot, getting a little deeper stretch through the left side of the body. Slowly make your way back up. Bring that left foot out. Pull your right foot in. Lengthen the spine. I'm already uncertain about what's going on this side, so we're just going to see what happens. Yeah, so if you have these little creaky and twingy spots like I do, just go really slowly to find what works best. And then you may be able to get far into the pose and realize that that's not your best spot to be. And then you just back it up. So if you can reach the outside of the left foot, just try to bring your right hand over. Hold on to the outside of that foot. Does the foot really have an outside? Pinky side, little toe side of the foot. I guess we do call it inner leg and outer leg, don't we? All right, you ready? Come on up. Ready to nap. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Pigeon or reclining pigeon. If you're trying square pose, so I always say I think this is your middle ground between pigeon and reclining pigeon. It's a lot on the hips. If the hips are tight, super duper uncomfortable, knees up really high, awkward pose. But it's not as much pressure on the knees as pigeon. If your hips are pretty loose, but your knees are problematic, square pose might work for you. If you're going to do pigeon, you want to be on hands and knees or in down dog. And then you bring that right knee forward and out to the right side. Left leg walks back. Oh, that feels so good. I don't think I can stay here very long though. Ooh, that hip needs it. Okay, so you can stay here on your arms. You can lower down. I was gonna say you could do a back bend, but I don't think I can go back any further on this side. So if you can walk, so I'm gonna fake it. If you can walk your hands back and stretch your spine back a little bit more, you can. If you're doing reclining pigeon, you're coming onto your back. Feet on the floor, and then just rest your right ankle on top of your left thigh. If you're already feeling like this is enough, just keep your left foot on the floor. Stretch your arms out somewhere so your shoulders can relax. If you're bringing that leg up so you get a little more of a stretch, hold on to your left leg. I want something under my head. So particularly if you're really struggling to get hold of the leg and to squeeze it in, and like your head's coming up off the floor and everything's just really uncomfortable in reclining pigeon, bring something up. It could even be like a really big pillow that comes up under your head and shoulders so that your shoulders and your neck don't get stressed out. Sometimes all you need is just a little elevation of the head to make it more comfortable. So this can be another good place to use 4-count breath, especially if it's intense. And on those exhales, really work on feeling that sensation of like you're moving down into the floor, and that you're releasing out stress. So that, as you're really exhaling slowly and fully, because you're counting the breath and you're really getting those full exhales, just try to really feel like, almost like somebody's kind of pushing down on you a little bit, like a little bit of a massage kind of sensation, that somebody's just pushing down and squeezing some of that stress and tension out of you. Okay, that was probably way too long. Let's change sides. If you're in pigeon, you can stretch out from hands and knees or down dog. If you're in square pose, you can just kind of straighten your legs out in front of you and bounce your knees up and down. Or you can have feet on the floor, hands or leaning back on your hands or your elbows behind you, and do windshield wipers, knees from side to side. That feels good after reclining pigeon too. Reclining pigeon usually I'll do, so we just had right leg up, then you can bring your right foot up towards the ceiling, hold the foot of the leg, pull in. And then if you're on your back, reclining pigeon, we're just going to straighten both legs out for a breath. Notice how your legs feel, if one feels better than the other. Which one? Hopefully the one we just stretched. All right, changing sides. Pigeon, left knee's going forward. If you're doing square pose, I didn't say which leg on top. So assuming you had your right leg on top, now you're going to do your left leg on top. So just switch which leg's on top. Reclining pigeon, left ankle over your left thigh. We're going to bring that left thigh up. And again, if you have a tighter side, for me this is my tighter side. So you may suddenly notice, if this is your tighter side, that you want something under your head if you're in reclining pigeon. Keep breathing. So again, you can use 4 count breath. And then we're going to release this side. And just stretch out the legs. If you're on your back, it could be this left foot up towards the ceiling. If you were in pigeon, it can be down dog. And again, square pose, you can straighten the legs out, bounce your knees up and down, kind of shake the legs out. Or it can be feet on the floor, knees going from side to side. So as you're watching your breath, what I noticed there as I was doing 4 count breath in that second side of pigeon, reclining pigeon. So again, this leg is tighter. So everything is a little more like stressful for me in that pose. And it just started to feel like I was really forcing the breath in 4 count breath. It just started to get that little sensation of like unpleasantness. Whereas on the other side, I didn't have that. Throughout all the other poses we've done. All right, let this foot come down. Just hanging it out there. Straighten both legs out along the floor if you're on your back. If you're not on your back, you're going to gently make your way to your back. So you also want to notice, like, in which positions, which poses does it feel beneficial and when does it not feel beneficial? We all too often get into this like, oh, this is good for me, I should be doing it. But you really want to listen to your own intuition rather than just those thoughts about what's good for us. But does it feel like it's right for me? It wasn't terrible on that side for me, but I just really noticed that there was a difference on that side, that I didn't want to keep doing it for very long. All right, hopefully you're on your back now. We're going to take a breath, we're going to do a twist, and we're going to relax for a couple minutes. So I think when there's like a little bit of compression on the chest, it gets more difficult for me anyway. All right, feet on the floor. We're going to drop the knees over to the right side, wherever you feel you want your arms today. They can be down, just kind of in a somewhat natural position. They can reach out at shoulder height, or they can come out past your head. Each one might be at a slightly different angle. Soften down. And we're going to slowly make our way to the other side. Bring your knees back up. Take that moment to pause. Sometimes I'll just bring my heels up off the floor. I don't know why, but I do. And push my low back down. And then we're going to take the knees over to the left side. Again, find where you want your arms to be now. It might shift a little bit. And then bring the knees back to center. And here's where we can hug the knees in. And then just relax. So find a good spot to settle down. We're going to try to do 5 minutes again. Okay, we're going to try to do 5 minutes. Get yourself as comfortable as you can. Something under your head, something under your knees, whatever you feel like you need here. And then feel your breath flowing in and out. If it's comfortable, just let yourself slip into 4 count breath. Keeping it very soft and relaxed, letting go with each exhale. Breathe a little more deeply. Be aware of how you feel in this moment. Just gently move your hands around, just giving your wrists a little bit of a stretch. Bring your arms past your head. Bend your knees and roll to one side. And slowly come on up to seated. Take another breath. Take note of how that was for you. If you were able to do the 4-count breath as we were resting there, did your mind wander off again? So when you're using that during meditation or you're using it to fall asleep or whatever, you just keep pulling the mind back to it. Hopefully you found to some degree that you were able to just focus on that counting and let everything else slip away. So it is a way to just keep your mind focused on something other than our stressful thoughts. So that's really what we're doing, is just trying to point the mind into something very calming and soothing. So use that during your yoga practice, use it to fall asleep, use it during your day, just as a little break. Use it while you're having your coffee in the morning. All right, let's take one more breath. Hands at the heart. Nice big inhale. Exhale it out. Thank you for being here and sharing in this practice with me today. Namaste.